Hello, I'm Jane Aula. I am a CF patient. I'm 46. 5 years ago, last week, I received a double lung transplant at U of M. I was diagnosed with CF when I was 2 days old, and back then, they didn't have very many medications. They didn't have very many treatments. They had the digestive enzymes, which I took, which I've been taking since I was born. Didn't have the breathing treatments, didn't have the inhalers, did not have the vest, so my parents had to pound on me for a long time, which never worked for me. Never got anything out of my lungs, never really worked. But me, like Julia's parents, they never treated me any different than my three sisters. They made sure I was active. They made sure that I got out and did things. I had to do chores just like my sisters did. So I was treated no differently. So growing up, I knew that I was different in a way that I had to take stuff that my sisters didn't have to take. But other than that, I wasn't any, so most of my friends growing up didn't even know I had CF. It wasn't very prevalent. It wasn't something that you talked about much, and it certainly wasn't in the media. So growing up, and now to hear that people, I hear it on the news, I see it in the newspapers, I see it on the web, I see it on Facebook, it's amazing. And to be able to connect with CF patients the way that I do today, never thought I would be able to do that 40 years ago when I was, growing up. I didn't have any friends that had CF. I didn't know anybody that had it. I didn't know anyone that had a sister or brother that had it. So it was very kind of a phenomenon when people heard that I was sick. They look at you and they're like, no, you're not sick. You start coughing and they're like, oh, you have a cold. You better call a doctor. I'm like, no, this is normal. I do this all the time. And they didn't quite comprehend that or understand that until later in life. So in my late 20s was the first time that I ever had to have IV antibiotics. That was not heard of when I was growing up, at least, and putting a CF patient in the hospital was unheard of. A lot of my doctors, there just wasn't anything that they could do for you, so they just sent you home. Well, do what you're doing, you'll be fine. There's nothing else we can do for you. Sorry, you have cystic fibrosis. Go about your life the best you can and live it the best you can. There's nothing we can do. Told my parents they wouldn't take me home. Told my parents I wouldn't live to be a year. Told my parents I wouldn't live to be 5. I will be 47 next month. So the fact that I'm even here is a miracle. And just like Julia and every CF patient that I've met moving forward as I've grown up and gotten more involved in the community, every one of us, and it comes from everyone around us in our support system, we're fighters, and this disease is a nasty, nasty disease. But that doesn't mean that it lives our life for us. We live our life however we want. CF does not dictate what we do day in and day out. And that's why you meet people, and like Dr. Johnson said, when we fill out those little questionnaires, we feel our life is awesome. But we don't look at it as on this health side or the health issue side. We look at it as we live every day. We're fine. There's nothing wrong with us. And clinically, yeah, maybe. But personally, in the way that we perceive ourselves and that we present ourselves to the world, we're just like everybody else. The steps and the strides that have been made in the research and the drugs for cystic fibrosis are unbelievable. To be where we're at today and to see Kaleido out there blows my mind, honestly. I always hoped we would get to this point, and I know and I still believe that we will cure CF one day, and we are so close. We are so, so close. And with everybody's support and advocacy and getting out there and talking about it, and I'm very fortunate to have had my lung transplant when I did. They told me, I ended up in the hospital 2 months prior to my transplant because both of my lungs collapsed. I was not alive for 3 minutes. So I woke up 5 days later at U of M on the vent. I had no idea. I knew what had happened, but I had no idea that it was as bad as it was. And my doctor came in and said, we need to get you lungs. You're not going home until we get you some lungs. Since that day, I've made it part of my mission to bring awareness to organ donation. There are CF patients that are dying every day because they're waiting and they need those lungs to survive. And it doesn't cure CF, and that's another misnomer. I think that to get a transplant, it doesn't cure it. It doesn't take it away. I still have cystic fibrosis. I still deal with the other issues that are with it that every CF patient knows about. But I am here today because of the gift of life and because of my donor, Jessica, and her family, and the decision that they made for me. And on the other hand, I do still want people to know that CF is still very prevalent and that children are suffering and striving every day to do what they want to do, what their friends and that their sisters and brothers are able to do, and that they still want to do and they still do it, and they're told they can't. It may not for the rest of their lives, but we're here. I'm living proof that the CF Foundation and foundations like Laura Bonnell and the Rock CF Foundation and the Boomer Esiason Foundation, I'm here because of them and because of the awareness that they've brought to this disease and making sure that CF patients know they're not alone and that there are others out there just like you. And that's what I try to tell people when I meet them, or I meet somebody that knows somebody who has a child or has a sister or a brother or a niece or a nephew that has this disease. You know, I tell them, remember you met me. I tell them how old I am and that it's not a death sentence whatsoever. And I am here today as proof that it's not. I've also, since I've received my transplant, I have completed 2 half marathons, and I've competed in 4 or 5 5Ks. So, thank you. It's not a death sentence anymore. You live into your 60s and 70s and 80s. You can have a family. In September, I will celebrate my 20th wedding anniversary to my amazing husband, who is my rock. And I'm very fortunate to have found somebody who is there for me every day. My parents, who are here tonight, I won't embarrass them and point them out, but they are here tonight, along with my husband. And because of them, I am here today. So if you know of anybody that has CF, remember it's not, it's not something that is it doesn't dictate your life. It doesn't dictate your daily routine. It's just a part of who we are. It's not our life. It's not our daily. So if anyone has any questions or anything, I highly encourage organ donation now, obviously, for obvious reasons. So if anybody, ever needs to know why should I be a registered donor? I'm here to say, please do it. Please sign that registration. Please put that heart on your driver's license, and please tell your loved ones. People don't understand that as well. If your loved ones don't know that those are your wishes, other people can circumvent what you want. So you need to tell the people around you that love you and know that that's what you want. And one day, most CF patients hopefully won't need a lung transplant, but the ones that do can have that transplant and have that new life. And I'm living proof that that happens. Thank you.